I want to talk about our guards for a second. And first, I thought the way that Trey started the game and just controlled the game, got people involved. I don't think he scored when he'd come out of the game. I think he had 4 assists. And that shows, I think, his mindset. And it's been that way. Tonight was really visible. And him trusting his teammates, and then DJ in the same vein to make that pass to Jalen on the 3. Tonight was about us trusting each other and competing collectively like that. And we got stops late, and that connectivity is really important. And I thought both Trey and DJ leading the way with that, and then 2 of them together as well, managing the game for us down the stretch.
Hey, Coach, to follow that up, what in the course of the game could potentially make the idea of trusting each other a little bit difficult?
Well, I mean, you think about your own life, and when it happens to me when I'm driving. When I come into near accidents, my wife goes like this all the time. So there's a lot of things that can happen, and frankly, adversity in any part of life, particularly on the court in competition, that's something that is not easy, and it's something that you work at, and it's something we have worked at, and I think the same thing. It shows on the defensive end. You're not perfect, but particularly when we needed it. There was 1 loose ball I can recall that I felt like we had. But as far as the defensive glass and coming up with balls and everything, this was a really good collective effort.
And throughout this season, we've just seen Jalen's confidence just continue to rise and rise and rise. For him to take that last shot, that 3, just what does it say about his growth and his mindset this season?
I think the important thing about that tonight, the notable thing I should say, is that he didn't have his best game, the other night against Orlando. And, it's something that, we talked about, that he owned that and then let it go. And it's no different than missing a shot. You take the next one, and he knows how much confidence, I have in him, and he could feel tonight his teammates' confidence in him. When DJ makes that pass, he's basically telling him to shoot. And, no hesitation whatsoever. And that's part of becoming, a really good player, and that's what he wants to do. And I think the thing about Jalen's development is we've all seen things that his teammates have seen, the coaching staff, you guys, that get you excited. But you also can forget, I don't know how many minutes a game Jalen's played up until this year, but it's not 30. And so he's a young player, and you keep that in mind. And I say that because, him playing the way he did tonight, letting the game come to him, and, playing both ends of the floor and impacting the game various ways, and then obviously having a chance to knock down an open shot at a big time, obviously.
Cut you off.
No.
But in terms of him and Onyeka, just their stops down the stretch, particularly some of those big blocks, just what have they been working on throughout this season to be in the right place at the right time? Yeah, I mean, I think you can ask them. That's every day. That's, being committed to, working on those things and drilling those things, whether it's, live against each other in certain situations, or sometimes when you're not able to practice as much live, it's in a drill setting. And so those habits, when we're focused like that, and they both played with a lot of urgency, and that's what you saw, being in the right place, and then also, recognizing those situations and being able to react instinctively.
You got to the line 42 times in this game, and also a lot of times at the rim. Was that a point of emphasis, especially with them beat out? Was it just attacking downhill as the mindset?
Yeah, I think, when we're playing our best basketball, the ball's touching the paint.
And at the same time, if we have, kick-aheads for early threes, we want to take those. But when we break the defense down and get in the paint, I thought we did a great job tonight of keeping our feet and not turning the ball over when we got in there. I don't know how many turnovers we had on the game. But that's against a team that leads the league in forcing turnovers. If you are driving the ball, some of those interior passes for us have been deflected at times. So, yeah, you want to drive the ball, and I thought our guys did a good job. I thought it was a physical game, particularly in the first half, and I thought we did a good job of keeping our composure, and adjusting to the way the game was being called, and that paid off as the game went along.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about both Trent and Bruno. They both played about 18 minutes tonight, just how they stepped in and focused during this game and the trust that you have building in both of those players.
Yeah, that's the way that we've been. We didn't have Jalen for a while, and as soon as Jalen came back, Hunt was out. So there's been a lot of guys at various times that have stepped up. Trent being a matchup on Maxey. We've used him that way, and tonight, obviously, Bruno's effort was huge. His ability to, he got the ball near the rim and went up strong and finished or got fouled. And, I think both those guys and our bench, Patty in the first half, we've got a lot of confidence. The most important thing that those guys did, and this has been true, right? They played hard. And, that sometimes when starters or rotational guys, over the course of a game, when they're playing more minutes, that's something that, that makes a huge impact when those guys come in the game and they're fresh and they just really get after it, and you can feel the passion that they're competing with, and that's really important, and they did that tonight.
A follow-up to what you said about your playing in the paint. Onyeka, I believe, had 11 of your first 18, which is not a role you normally see him take. What does that reflect about maybe what his potential is when given that kind of opportunity?
Well, it kind of goes with what I was saying early, when Trey was finding him. And, his hands and his ability to finish in a crowd and absorb contact. So, whoever scores during the course of the game, what you want is that the ball is going to find the right person and the open person, and that was the case with O early in the game. Trey was getting off it and made a few passes to him, and then O's ability to finish, and then that carried over throughout the game. Particularly with him on the glass and on the defensive glass as well. Okay.